Hello, my name is Aiden Vaughn, and welcome to my channel. This week, uh, I will be reviewing Batman: The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. It was released in the mid-1990s, and me and many people who read it both agree that it is technically the sequel to Batman Year One, although the publishing company DC Comics hasn't officially recognized it. Now, before I start go into the video, I hope that you all had a good holiday break. I still have a few more days until I have to go back to work. And this book was actually a Christmas gift from my mother. And I really liked it because I really like Jeff Loeb. He's one of my favorite writers of the modern era. And Tim Sale's artwork is very good. It's very 90s, but it's also unique in its own sense. Anyway, now I will get into the story. It begins in midsummer of Bruce Wayne's second year of being the Batman. And there's this serial murderer who the newspapers call Holiday, and they murder people on holidays. And so Batman has to find out who it is and apprehend them. And the movie The Dark Knight took a lot of inspiration from this movie because both this book and that movie, they chronicle the rise and fall of Harvey Dent, who is one of Batman's allies, and the district attorney of Gotham City. So he's like the big lawyer who prosecutes people. And so it's a lot like the sequel to Year One because there's a lot of mention of events that took place, and Jim Gordon, he and his wife Barbara are in it, and their son James Jr., who was in Year One, and Carmine Falcone, who's the head crime boss, and he still has his scar from where Catwoman scratched him, like right here in Year One, and so the his nickname is the Roman. So the Roman's nephew Johnny is murdered on Halloween, and all the core all the core members of Falcone's syndicate are murdered on every holiday after for about a year. Like his sister, his son, some of his lower guys who like his enforcers. Anyway, just everyone related to his crime syndicate is murdered. And as I said, it focuses on Harvey Dent, and he's married to this woman named Gilda Dent, and they're a happy family, and they can't have a baby, and they're trying to have a baby, but they haven't been able to so far, and it is revealed in the book that Harvey had a lot of childhood issues that he never dealt with psychologically. I mean, in later books we learn that his father was very abusive towards him, and so it caused him to have personality disorders like dissociative identity disorder or multiple personalities, and schizophrenia and other such mental health issues. And it also has Selena Kyle, Catwoman. She shows up a lot, and she and Bruce Wayne are in a romantic relationship, but he always pulls away from her because he has to protect Gotham City, and she always just wants to be a thief. So she stopped being a whore like she was in year one, and she's grown out her hair more because in that book she had like short hair. Now she has long flowing hair, which I like. And yeah, Catwoman is very beautiful, and the way Tim Sale draws her is just like wow. And so during this um, during this investigation, Batman gets a few suspects. There's the Calendar Man, who is an old and zany Batman villain who has become more mature in this book, because in this version they said, oh, he's a murderer who kills people on holidays. And so it's sort of like Silence of the Lambs. Batman can go to the asylum and ask him for help, but he's also going to suspect him. And it turns out not to be him. And he also thinks, could be Carmine's rival, Sal Maroni, but it's not him. Holiday kills him. So we're like, okay, not him. And you can find out for yourself who the murderer really is, and it is, shocking to find out who, because you wouldn't expect them going into the story unless you had heard reviews that had spoiled it for you. But I don't want to spoil that for you. Like I say in all my videos, I want you to read these books for yourselves or see these movies for yourselves, because that if I just tell you what happens, then it can take away from your experience. But it is a good book. It's a shocking twist in who the murderer is. On another good part about this, it's got all the main Batman villains. It's got Two-Face, it's got the Joker, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, the Scarecrow, the Mad Hatter, and the Penguin makes a brief appearance. He doesn't talk, but he's there. Carmine Falcone, Salvatore Maroni, just big Batman villains. Solomon Grundy, who's a shared villain with the Flash. And, just read it for yourself. I highly recommend it. The next book I want to read for Batman is the sequel to this, Dark Victory, which I hear is Jeff Loeb's reiteration of Dick Grayson, the first Robin's origin story. So, enjoy, and Happy New Year.